I was selling newspapers at the time, and I found out through a friend of mine that they had a golf course about 7 miles from my house, and they paid 65 cents for 18 holes for a caddy. And it only took about 3.5 to 4 hours to make 65 cents. And that was twice as much as I was making selling newspapers till 11:30 to 12 o'clock at night. So I sure wanted to get in on this. I couldn't wait the next day to get to the golf course, and when I got there, I found that they had more caddies than they needed. And of course, most of these fellows were much larger than I was, and they didn't want any new caddies there because I might take one of their jobs. So the next day, I went out and I posed as another fellow's brother, so they wouldn't, they'd leave me alone. But they found out that that wasn't the truth, and they gave me the works. They put me in a barrel and rolled me down this big hill with a lot of rocks, and after I got down to the bottom of the hill, they came down with sticks and everything else and gave me a pretty good beating, and I'd go back up the hill, and they'd take my cap off and throw it down the hill, and I spent my day going up and down this hill without a job, of course. But I was pretty persistent in those days. And I went back the next day, and as one of the initiations out there, they have a kangaroo court, of course, and anyone that's tried in this kangaroo court, of course, always loses. And they picked out a pretty husky boy, a little larger than I was, for me to fight. And if you could whip this other fellow, then you were in. You could get the job out there. And after selling newspapers for a couple of years, I was pretty handy with my fists, and I gave this boy a rough time. And I got to be a caddy out there, and after then, they left me alone.
Now it's time for a super big shout out to my main man, Andrew Garcia. Congratulations on breaking 80. We've conversed a lot over the last 6 months about your golf swing, and I know it feels really great to break that scoring barrier. So just wait till you get the black belt scoring system. By shooting in the 70s, that makes you a brown belt. So the next level is brown belt with a black tip, and that's when you shoot 75. So keep it going, brother. I'm real proud of you. Welcome to my black belt scoring system. I'm so excited to be able to share this with you. I wish I had something like this while I was going through my swing evolution, just to help me prioritize the things I need to work on so I can chip away at those scoring barriers until I make it to the next level. That's a pretty simple system. If you shoot in the hundreds, you're a white belt. If you can shoot in the 90s, you're a green belt. If you shoot in the 80s, you're a purple belt. Now, when you can break 80, you're a brown belt. And if you shoot between 72 and 75, you're a brown belt with a black tip. And once you can break par, you're a black belt. Okay, so let's get started. I'm hoping I'm going to have this done next week, and it really is a great consolidation of my over 5 years of research and hard work on the range. And I really do think it's going to help your game an awful lot. I mean, it just condenses everything and cuts through the BS and gives you the straight scoop on what you need to work on. Now, speaking of which, I was watching a video today with Billy Casper, another great classic swinger. A lot of people don't talk about Billy Casper, but he was the man. This guy had 51 PGA Tour wins. That puts him in extremely elite company. And a lot of people talk about the big three of Nicklaus, Palmer, and Gary Player. But some people say it should have been the big four because Billy Casper was the real deal. Now check out this classic golf swing. I think that this is really fascinating because he's demonstrating the same thing that Ben Hogan and Mo Norman demonstrated.
This is a power stance. We're striving for distance. Try to take the club back square. Good shoulder turn, and then pull down with the right hand or left arm through the ball, hoping to place the ball in the fairway. see that swing again.
Isn't that cool? So I'm still working with a bunch of new students. This is a really great new chapter in my life. So I've enjoyed sharing their progress with everybody on MSE. I've got more coming. Gosh, I've got so many students now. It's like I don't want to just deluge the channel with, you know, student after student. But a lot of their lessons are very relevant for things that you're going through. And I'm thinking about starting an online lesson course. I have one student in particular that I'm going to start with. Hi Scott, how are you? And I'm going to give it a test run. And if this works out, I might open it up to more folks. But you know, I have to be pretty careful about my time, and I still haven't been able to make the jump to golf as a career yet, although I want to. I still have to make my TV show, so I don't want to stretch too far in the beginning. But check this out. I was listening to a video that Gary McCORD was talking about meeting Ben Hogan, and there was some bombshell information dropped, and I think we all know it, but I wanted to share this with you, and this was sent to me by one of my awesome subscribers. So check this out.
Ben Cherry, when we were playing Colonial, took me over to meet Hogan for 2.5 hours. Canned, just drinking his martinis. Started talking. I was asking a bunch of questions, you know, trying to find out, you know. And we got talking, and I was listening to how he was interpreting this stuff and doing all this. And Kenny finally told me afterwards that he never wrote any of the books. Never wrote any of the books. He said he got a guy out there, Wind, right? Wind, or where it was. And he said, here, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to tell you what I feel, and you interpret in the words. You know, and you know, Hogan talks about arms tied together. Ben Hogan played like this his whole life, still does. His arm's sticking out here. Ken says, I don't know where you got that. He said his arm's always flying out there because the club went back this way. And he said he never wrote any books. I said, all that stuff everybody at the 5 funded. He said, no, he didn't write that. He just told the guy, he says, this is what I feel. And that's all he talked about with me was feels. You know, do this, you got to do that. He's sitting there, he's sitting in a chair. Sitting in a chair. And he puts his feet down and he says, put your right foot here. He says, you turn this one out, we're going this way. He says, we're not going this way. He says, I want the ball going that way. You put your foot out here, you don't know which way you're going. You're going to go way back here. He says, all we want to do is start here. And he's sitting in this chair. And he says, all you got to do is sit in this chair. And he says, just take your swing. You get flat, and you go around, and you just boom, and you go there. And he's sitting there, he's doing this stuff. And that's when all of a sudden it dawned on me. He said, he couldn't sit down and tell you like some of these guys, well, you got to get in this position, because. You know, in the old days, I didn't have video stuff. It just, here's a feel. Here's what I do.
Isn't that crazy? So when you think about it, Ben Hogan really didn't write his books. I mean, he's trying to describe to Herbert Warren Wind like, well, I hit it like this. You know, so there is a heavy translational element in all of these books. Now, there are some facts and things that Mr. Hogan, I think, shared with us, absolutely. You know, but a lot of that we have to understand is an interpretation by a writer. So that's just absolutely wild to me. So it's not easy to explain to someone how to swing a golf club. It's like, let me tell you how I play Rachmaninoff on the piano. It's probably going to be a long book. But that being said, there's a lot of really exciting stuff at My Swing Evolution that's coming out. So look for My Swing Evolution on Facebook. We're sharing a lot of great stuff on that page. It's a very useful tool for us. And on Twitter, you can find me at My Swing Evolution, and also Instagram. Admittedly, I'm still getting used to that. I don't know what's up with that, but I'm going to try and start using it. So I have a new website that's being built. It's going to be awesome. So I'm really excited about the future. So hang in there, keep watching My Swing Evolution, and hit 'em long and hit 'em straight.